You're listening to Geek on the Mic. You're listening to Geek on the Mic, a Chicago Bears podcast pregame show. This podcast starts right now.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Geek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Before we get started with today's episode, I just want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by DraftKings. Bears fans, have you heard? DraftKings has launched a first-of-its-kind fantasy football game using digital player cards. And Bears fans, what's cool about that is DraftKings, a leader in daily fantasy, is bringing their digital gaming expertise to the world of Web3. What does that exactly mean? Well, let me tell you. DraftKings has recently launched DraftKings Marketplace, allowing customers to buy and sell exclusive player card NFTs. Collect your favorite athletes' digital player cards and then use those cards to create a daily NFT fantasy lineup. Then, your lineup racks up points, just like any other daily fantasy contest, and if you land near the top of the leaderboard, you can win cold, hard cash. And Bears fans, you already know that Geek on the Mic is going to have the best fantasy NFT player card pack around, and I already opened my free pack, and let me tell you, my lineup is absolutely stacked. The golden leg of Cara Santos, the solid tight end Dallas Goedert, we got the Hunter Renfrow, the route running machine out of Las Vegas, Jalen Hurts as my starting quarterback, James Conner as a solid running back option, and Juju Smith-Schuster looking to have a big season in Kansas City. Overall, I am super hyped about my fantasy lineup. So Bears fans, all you have to do is head to DraftKings now with the links that I'll put in the description of this video, sign up using the code TPPN, and navigate to their marketplace where you can join the Geek to purchase a pack of player cards. Each pack has different player cards. Enter your players into a lineup and watch the action unfold as your team starts to score you points. Do you guys think you guys have a better team than me? Well, I definitely don't think so, but let me know. And please join DraftKings today. All right, Bears fans, the time has come. The Chicago Bears open up their season at home against the San Francisco 49ers. And as promised, I know I talked about a little bit about this earlier in the offseason, but my special guest this season will be Isaiah Frey. How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Really, really happy to have you as my co-host this season for all Chicago Bears, hopefully all Chicago Bears pregame. But how are you feeling about this week's matchup against the San Francisco 49ers?
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great game. You got two young quarterbacks going at it against each other. So I'm just excited to watch to see what they do. Yeah,
absolutely. Obviously, a little bit of the matchup background here is that the Bears and 49ers are playing each other for the second straight season at Soldier Field. Obviously, the 49ers defeated the Chicago Bears in that game 33-22, and the 49ers open as a 6.5-point favorite. So when you hear the 6.5-point favorite, right, that means the Chicago Bears are underdogs at home to open the season. What are your initial thoughts to that?
I think that's expected just because the 49ers did make it to the NFC Championship last year. But I don't think they're taking into account how much change the 49ers are having. Obviously, they have a new quarterback in Trey Lance. This is his first year being a full-time starter, so he's going to have an adjustment just getting out there and playing, a full season.
Yeah, and obviously, when I look at this matchup, I totally agree with you. When I look at this matchup, the first thing that comes to mind is how the Bears and 49ers are in two different situations, right? Obviously, when you look at the 49ers, their roster is built to win and maybe compete for a Super Bowl this year outside of maybe Trey Lance, right, not performing. But then when you look at the Chicago Bears, they are technically in rebuilding mode, right? And there's been a lot of moving parts, right? You have new coaches, new GM, new players. So when you look at this matchup, they're on two separate spectrums right now. So two teams looking for two different things. And obviously going into this game, obviously the national media has been bashing the Chicago Bears, and a lot of Niners fans have been saying that this is probably going to be an easy win for them. How do you react to that?
I don't think it's going to be an easy win. I think it's going to be a close game. Who's going to win? TBD. But I think the game is going to be a lot closer than what people think it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I've been telling a lot of people, for the people that have been saying that the Chicago Bears haven't done enough to surround Justin Fields, right? I say, well, just adding a new coaching staff is doing enough for Justin Fields. And obviously, when you watch them this preseason, he has improved his mechanics, his footwork, right? He has improved. He has gained grasp of the offense, and now the coaching staff has him in an offense that fits his skill set. And I think that's what we need to look for moving forward, is not really wins and losses, but how is Justin Fields developing week to week? That's just how I look at it.
Oh, for sure. I think the goal for him this year is, every game just get 1% better.
Yeah.
And if we're doing that every game, man, it's the sky's the limit for him. I'm a huge Justin Fields fan, so I'm looking forward to him to being very successful this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. And obviously, when you look at the key injuries for this game, and I think this is where the Bears may gain a little bit of their advantage for this game, because let's start out with the San Francisco 49ers key injuries. Obviously, a big one this week was tight end George Kittle dealing with a groin injury all of a sudden. I guess he got hurt on Monday, and he hasn't practiced all week, and I guess Kyle Shanahan said it's not looking good for him on Sunday against the Bears, so that can be a huge break for the Chicago Bears defense. Obviously, offensive lineman Daniel Brunskill has a hamstring injury, and then linebacker Dre Greenlaw, elbow. He's been limited all week. He should play. For the Chicago Bears, wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. is dealing with a hamstring injury, so the impressive rookie for the Chicago Bears may not get to see action in his very first game at Soldier Field. And obviously, defensive lineman Dominique Robinson is dealing with a knee injury, and he has been limited. So, obviously, let's go back to the key injury for the 49ers, though. What is that going to mean if Trey Lance doesn't have his top target in George Kittle on Sunday?
That's the safety net this year. You know what I mean? Like when Debo and Ayuk is not open, Kittle's going to be the guy he's looking to kind of move the stick. So for him not to be there that first game is going to be tough, man. That's a huge part of their offense, even in the run game. So that's going to affect them a lot.
Yeah, and you just mentioned even in the run game, it's because George Kittle is a tough son of a gun, and especially when it comes to the blocking for the 49ers. And that's going to be a big gaping hole, especially for a young quarterback like Trey Lance. That's definitely a huge advantage for the Chicago Bears. Hopefully they do take advantage if he doesn't suit up on Sunday for the 49ers.
Definitely. That's going to help the defense out a lot. And knowing Coach Flus, I know he's going to find a way to expose that. So that's definitely something to look forward to.
Absolutely. So now we're going to move on to this pregame show, talking about the X factors for this game. Obviously, we're going to have X factor for each team, and I guess I'll let you get started on this one.
For the Niners, I think the obvious one is Trey Lance. He's young, and he's kind of green still. So to see what he goes out and does this week is going to be interesting to see. So he's their X factor for sure. Their team's going to be successful on how well he plays. For the Bears, I'm going to the old lineman. I'm going to the new 5th round draft pick, Braxton Jones. He's their left tackle. He needs to have a huge game, right? Because how important left tackle is in this league. He's protecting Justin Fields, and if he's able to be successful against a guy like Eric Armstead and Nick Bosa, he's going to have a really good career. But it's going to be a tough matchup for him, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough test for Braxton Jones. It's kind of funny because this week he was kind of like not disrespecting Nick Bosa, but more like, you know what, I'm not nervous. I'm meant to be here. He has the confidence, all the confidence in the world to go against a guy like Nick Bosa. And hey, I know it probably doesn't really compare, but he goes against Robert Quinn every day in practice. So he should be pretty prepared for what Nick Bosa has to offer. And obviously, he's not going to win every rep, right? But just stand your ground enough to give Justin Fields enough time. That's how I look at it.
Most definitely. He if he's able to, win some reps, he's going to lose some. That's just part of being a rookie. But if he win more than he loses, that's going to be a great game for him. For a 5th round rookie, great game.
I totally agree. So my X factors, obviously, I also have Trey Lance, and you basically hit it all on the nose. Obviously, Trey Lance is now the unquestioned starter for the San Francisco 49ers. But even when I say unquestioned starter, is he the unquestioned starter for the San Francisco 49ers, right? Because when I look at Trey Lance, right, after spending all year on the bench, I think he started 2 games last year for the 49ers, but they still opted to re-sign Jimmy G to make him the highest paid backup. So to me, are the 49ers actually all in on Trey Lance? So it's almost kind of like if Trey Lance comes in and struggles, how much of a leash does he actually have to be the 49ers starting quarterback? That's kind of how I look at it. I felt like it was really surprising to keep Jimmy G on the roster. I think it's a good safety net to have if just in case Trey Lance does struggle. But I guess my main concern is how much of a leash does Trey Lance actually have to be the 49ers starting quarterback?
I think he's gonna have a long leash. I think they're sold on him. I think that the Jimmy G signing was more of a safety net, like you said, rather than we don't believe in Trey Lance because really good backup quarterbacks are hard to come by in this league, and willing to stay and take the money that you offer him, you give him what he wants, right? So I think that was a good move by them. Just in case any type of injury happens to Trey, they got Jimmy G to come and move to.
And obviously, my X factor for the Bears is obviously I'm going to just say Justin Fields. Obviously, when you look at last season against the 49ers, he went 19 for 27, 175 yards, a touchdown, interception, and he added 10 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Obviously, I'm pretty sure everyone remembers that 4th and 1 huge run against the San Francisco defense. And I truly feel like that was his best game in his rookie year against the San Francisco 49ers, or at least one of his best games. And obviously, Justin Fields entering year 2 as the unquestioned starter. And after offseason filled with changes along the roster and the coaching staff, Fields, like I mentioned, has better footwork, better mechanics, better pocket presence, and he now has a full grasp on his new offense that fits his skill set, and that is the big thing. But I also think, Justin Fields comes in and all that hard work comes to fruition right in this first game against the 49ers, and he takes over. If the offensive line allows him to do so, like you mentioned in your X Factor, I think Justin Fields will have a big game and hopefully lead the Chicago Bears to a big Week 1 win.
Definitely. That's you're not wrong in saying that. He is the X factor. If he's able to play well, man, that offense is going to be very good.
Absolutely. So now we're going to move on to the key matchups to this Week 1 matchup against the San Francisco 49ers, and I guess we can just piggyback back and forth on this one as we go along. So my first one is Braxton Jones versus Nick Bosa, and you kind of already touched on this.
That was my first one.
Right. I think this is going to be the biggest matchup of the game because you already know that the 49ers are thinking, 5th-round rookie, left tackle, the most important position on the offensive line. Let's pick on him. Let's see what this kid got, So, And I know that Braxton Jones has confidence. The Chicago Bears have confidence in Braxton Jones, and I think he'll be ready to go on Sunday against Nick Bosa.
Yep, I think he will. It's gonna be tough, man. It's it's a hard draw for your first game as a rookie.
Yes.
But like you said, he has the confidence to go out there and make it do what it do. So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And my second key matchup of the game, and it's kind of like another tough test for a young rookie in Kyler Gordon versus Deebo Samuel.
We got the same. Stuff. I wrote the same thing down.
Hey, we think alike. We probably think alike. But Kyler Gordon versus Deebo Samuel, and obviously this is going to be a huge test for the second-round rookie out of Washington. Obviously, when you look at last season, Samuel caught 6 passes for 171 yards, and what the 49ers really did well was attacking the middle of the field, attacking the nickel corners and the linebackers, and that's where Kyler Gordon has really been playing, is in that nickel corner spot. So he's going to see a lot of Deebo Samuel on Sunday. So I'm really excited to see what he got in store for us. I think once again, he's a confident player, and I think Coach Eberflus will put him in the best situations to succeed against Deebo Samuel.
Oh yeah, definitely. Playing that nickel position was a position I played when I was playing, and the key to that is just to keep your leverage and know where your help is more than anything. And just watching him, he's a very smart player, and if he's able to identify where his help is early, he's going to have some real good success going against Deebo. So, I'm excited for him.
And you just mentioned, you played a lot of nickel corner as well, and obviously you played for Coach Eberflus. So, in this situation, how would you prepare for a guy like Deebo Samuel?
I'm not gonna do too much different than what I planned on doing. Right? Deebo's an amazing receiver. Don't get me wrong, but we always used to say, and he's part of the same system that I grew up in, the Lovie Smith system. The star of the defense is the defense. So we're not gonna really too much go out the way we're thinking. We're gonna show too high the first 2 downs, and then third down we're gonna show single high, bring some pressure. So. I think they just stick to the script, man, and allow your guys to play and, make mistakes, but they're going to get better from the mistakes. So, you got to let your guys play.
And you obviously know that Deebo Samuel is going to be all over the field. Some possessions, It's going to be Kyler Gordon against them. Some possessions, it's going to be Jalen Johnson covering Deebo Samuel. They use Deebo Samuel in so many different creative ways, and I think that's how the Bears want to use Velus Jones Jr. When Velus Jones Jr. is healthy, I think that's how they plan to use Jones Jr. as kind of like a Deebo Samuel type guy. Right.
Just versatile. You can throw him in the backfield, hand it off to him. Those are very key players in today's age of football. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And I'll let you give one of your key matchups here.
So I had the first two the same as you.
Okay.
And then the third one was for me was Jaquan Brisker versus Kittle if Kittle does play, because that's a matchup that he would have to take if it's cover one. Just being able to cover a big body like that, man, it's tough. They can box you out, move the stick. So it's going to be a tough draw for the rookie, but a good test. So I'm hoping he'll be ready for it.
Yeah, and I really think they're going to use Jaquan Brisker in many different ways. I'm excited for Jaquan Brisker.
Right.
I'm planning to do a bold predictions video here in the next couple of days, and one of my bold predictions is that I think Jaquan Brisker will be in the conversations for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I have that much confidence in his ability because of the different ways they're going to use him. Right. He can play the slot corner. He can play deep safety, free. All the things you need him to do, he's there.
Right.
I think they definitely struck gold in the draft with Jaquan Brisker.
Oh man, I like it. That's a good take. I'm hoping it happens for him, man. That'd be nice.
Me too.
Yeah.
So my final key matchup is the Bears defensive line versus the 49ers offensive line. There's not a lot of people talking about the San Francisco 49ers offensive line in this game. Obviously, the Bears offensive line is they have a lot of young, new pieces, and there's question marks. But the 49ers offensive line also has question marks of their own. Obviously, outside of solid left tackle Trent Williams, the 49ers are possibly starting 3 inexperienced starters on Sunday. So let me explain in deep detail for people that want me to explain in deep detail. As it stands, the 49ers O-line looks like this. Obviously, left tackle Trent Williams, left guard Aaron Banks. He's a second-round selection in 2021 with 0 starts, and he has plenty of rough edges. Then you look at center Jake Brendel, a fifth-year player who hasn't played an offensive snap in the NFL since 2018, so he's going to be rough around the edges a little bit. And then you look at the right guard, Spencer Buford. He's a fourth-round rookie, so obviously another inexperienced guy. And of course, right tackle Mike McGlinchey. And obviously, he has had the right tackle job since 2018, ever since he's been drafted in the first round of 2018. But he's attempting to return from a torn quad that ended the season last year in November. So, obviously, during the preseason, they're a work in progress. And I think this is something that the Bears D-line can take advantage of. Obviously, people have been kind of scrutinizing this Bears defensive line because of the loss of Akeem Hicks, the loss of Khalil Mack, and those are both huge losses to a defensive line. But I also think we have some pieces there. We just got Armon Watts off of waivers from Minnesota. That was a good piece to add in there. We got Justin Jones from the Chargers, a very solid piece, but both athletic guys that fit the Matt Eberflus scheme. You still have Robert Quinn coming off 18.5 sacks. You have Travis Gibson coming off 7 sacks, 5 forced fumbles. So you have pieces on this defensive line. I think Matt Eberflus, knowing the defensive mind that he is, I think he's going to take advantage of this on Sunday.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. He knows the weaknesses in the O-line of the Niners and what they got going on. So I'm almost certain he's going to scheme up some pressures, especially on third down, just to speed up the timing of Trey. So he's definitely going to take advantage of it. And like you said, those D linemen that you mentioned are all athletic, and that's the key to the system that Coach Eberflus is instilling, is having very, very athletic D linemen. So when you get inexperienced O linemen versus athletic D linemen, that's always a tough matchup for the offense. So that should be some success there from the D-line of the Bears.
And that's what gives me hope about this defense under Matt Eberflus is, that hits principle that we were kind of talking about, right? And everyone's running to the football. Roquan Smith mentioned it today in his press conference saying, there's always going to be 7 guys around the football. So if you can do that against a guy like Deebo Samuel, that's good news, right? Because for Deebo, it's about the yards after the catch, right? It's not about the catches. It's about what he can do after the catch. But if there's 7 guys running to the football and making the play right away, this Bears defense should be in pretty good shape.
Definitely. Yep. They do that and they create turnovers. That's the name of the game right there.
Right. So now we are going to move on to 3 keys to a Chicago Bears win. And Isaiah, I'll let you start off.
First off is good O-line play. Okay. Obviously. That's going to be very, very, very important for Justin Fields. Second is the young DBs play. I think those guys are going to come in and be successful, and they need to have a good start to the season, starting off with this game.
Right.
Third, I think is establishing the run game.
Yeah.
David Montgomery. I think as something to control the game is going to be very important for Justin Fields, especially since he's a guy that likes to get outside the pocket. So the play action is going to be very important. So my 3 keys.
And, moving pockets, play actions are very important in this Kyle Shanahan wide zone scheme. And this is what's funny about this game is that both teams are running the same offense or at least similar offenses. So it's almost kind of like which offensive line is going to hold up for their quarterback, essentially. And I think we all can agree that the 49ers on paper have better weapons than the Chicago Bears. I don't think anyone's arguing that, but I think it comes down to, okay, who can run the football and who's going to have better offensive line play on Sunday. That's how I kind of weigh this game.
Right. I agree. I think that's the key to the game.
And I kind of want to add to one of your points about the run game. People are forgetting about Khalil Herbert and his fit in this offense as well. A guy that has decent speed, and obviously Montgomery is the number 1 back. He's a workhorse. I love David Montgomery. But yeah, you have to get the run game going in order, like you mentioned, to get the play action going. Because if the Bears can establish the run, I think that's when everything opens up for them. That's when Justin Fields will get more comfortable, and that's what all NFL teams are looking to do.
Yeah,
right?
And that's his style of play, right? And that's why I was very surprised the 49ers didn't draft him, because that's the type of quarterback he is. But it all worked out for him, so this will be good for him.
Right. So my first key to a Chicago Bears win is take advantage of Trey Lance's inexperience. Obviously, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but this is going to be Trey Lance's very first start as the unquestioned starter, right? So take advantage of that. Obviously, we mentioned the O-line, how it looks a little bit questionable, but if the D-line can get constant pressure on Trey Lance, make him think, and I think Eberflus being a defensive-minded guy, once again, we're going to make him think, right? And I think that's the plan. You kind of want a bunch of things going on in his head, make sure he maybe force a couple of turnovers, get constant pressure, and I think it would be a successful day for the Chicago Bears. My second key, you already mentioned this, O-line needs to hold up versus the 49ers defense. They have Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Eric Armstead. They have a bunch of dogs on on that defense. But I feel like if a guy like Braxton Jones holds up, hopefully Tevin Jenkins at right guard steps up, Larry Borom at right tackle, hopefully he steps up. It's a bunch of young guys. But if all our young guys step up and do their job on the offensive line and give Justin Fields time, I think Justin Fields will have a very good day. And that's, once again, that's any quarterback. If you give time to your quarterback, you'll have a good day most of the time, unless you're just that bad. But I think we saw in the preseason when they gave Justin Fields enough time, it was beautiful. It was like poetry in motion for the Chicago Bears offense.
Right, definitely.
And then my final one is Justin Fields needs to take advantage of the 49ers thin secondary. There's a lot of injuries in that 49ers secondary. A lot of young guys are going to be starting for that 49ers secondary. Obviously, safety Jimmy Ward will be out week 1. Obviously, starters Jason Verrett. I think he's coming back from an ACL injury, so he's not going to suit up. So, once again, if the O-line holds up, open up the play action, I think Justin Fields will be able to get the ball to his weapons.
Definitely. I agree. That O-line play is very important, and I think they'll hold up. I think they'll do a good job this Sunday.
Yeah, I do as well. So here we go. The end of this little pregame show with Isaiah, we're going to give our predictions of who we think is going to win and why. I'll let you start off.
I'm going to go with the upset, and I'm going to go with Bears week 1, 24-21.
Okay.
And I think it comes down to the end. I think we kick the field goal to win it. That's the prediction.
So the golden leg of Cairo Santos wins it.
Wins it
on a rainy day in the windy city. Okay, I like it.
Yep.
And I am also going with the upset. And we kind of have similar scores here. I'm getting a little bit freaked out that we're kind of similar in a lot of our stuff. But I think the Bears beat the 49ers 24-20. I think we do just enough. And I think the reason why I'm saying upset is because, once again, this is going to be Trey Lance's first real start. Yes, he started 2 games last year, but it was limited, right? Now he has a whole playbook, right? All that stuff. I think Trey Lance's inexperience will show up. He could prove me wrong. If he does, kudos to him. I think he's going to be a great player, but I don't think it's going to start off well here in Chicago against the Chicago Bears in week 1.
I agree. Yeah, our scores are actually pretty similar there.
Yeah. But overall, I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to be partnering with you all season long for pregame shows. Obviously, you bring some good input as an ex-player. So obviously, you know a lot more when it comes to football than I do. But it's going to be nice to have you as a co-host here on Geek on the Mic this season.
Oh, definitely. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited you invited me. I appreciate you. And hoping we can get some old teammates of mine to come on here and hopefully, provide some insight as well. So
absolutely.
Yep. I'm excited.
Absolutely. It's going to be a long season. A lot of good insight from you and hopefully some other ex-Bears players or teammates that come on and give some insight on the Bears. But it's going to be a fun season. And hopefully the Chicago Bears shock all the doubters this year.
Definitely.
So, Bears fans, I'm sorry this episode of Geek on the Mic had no video. There were some technical difficulties, so this is just going to be an all-audio podcast. But before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. And make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. Better than that, be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You've been listening to Geek on the Mic, a podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Thanks, guys, and bear down.